Well, joining me now is Ishtiaq Ahmed. He's a professor of international relations and a political analyst at the Quaid-e-Azam University in the Pakistani capital. Welcome to the programme. Professor Ahmed, a volleyball game in a remote area of the Northwest Frontier province seems an unusual target. Who do you think was the focus of the attack?
You see, apparently the local TV reports suggest that a peace committee was in session, and the particular vehicle which exploded, including the suicide bombers, was heading to that venue where the peace committee meeting was taking place. And as you know, that Lucky Marwat is one of the places in the tribal and frontier regions where tribal lashkars were created in order to counter Taliban terrorism in the region. So apparently the terrorists missed the main target, but they struck at the sports venue. And as we know from the past, that even during Taliban regime in Afghanistan, sports was one of the activities that was prohibited. The last time the terrorists struck was in Lahore, when they tried to attack the Sri Lankan cricket team. And this is one of the unfortunate tragedies that we had today in Lucky Marwat.
If local tribesmen, for example, were the focus of that attack, how influential is the role of tribal elders across the Northwest Frontier province when it comes to working with the local authorities, with the government, with the security services to fight the Pakistan Taliban?
You see, the tribal elders, Suhail, are trying to reclaim the very stature or the very status that they had prior to Talibanization of the region. There is clear-cut transformation in the last several years from the traditional Malik to the Taliban mullah in this region. And what the tribal elders are doing in accordance with the traditional Pashtun culture and the nature of the society in this region, they are only reclaiming the kind of status that they had in this region. And Talibanization and the rise of the mullah has really jeopardized. So as part of the government policy also, at various places tribal lashkars and peace committees have been created as a counterpoise to Taliban terrorism in the region.
And of course we've seen the military and their offensive in South Waziristan this past few months. And in mid-December, Pakistan Taliban's number 2, Wali Rahman, said his followers were going into Afghanistan to counter the influx of US troops that are going to arrive in 2010. The Afghan Taliban said at the time, we don't need their help. What is the working relationship between these two groups?
You see, what is happening in the last few months, ever since Pakistani security began a very credible and resolute military campaign in South Waziristan, is that Taliban, whose focus was exclusively on committing terrorism inside Pakistan, are claiming responsibility of attacks in Afghanistan, and also claiming that thousands of their volunteers and warriors have crossed the rural line and are part and parcel of the Taliban-led insurgency against US, NATO and Afghan forces inside Afghanistan. But in my opinion, I think it is only a reflection of a sign of frustration and increasing desperation on the part of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, because TTP, as we know, was exclusively focused on committing terrorism inside Pakistan. There are other groups like the Haqqani network or the Mullah Nazir group and other couple of factions based primarily in North Waziristan bordering Afghanistan, who were contributing allegedly to the Afghan insurgency against NATO, US and Afghan forces. But apparently it seems that since Pakistan Army's operation is advancing very fast and these forces are really pressed hard, so they are trying to divert the attention and trying to actually complicate Pakistan's counter-terrorism specific relationship with the United States.
Well, indeed, and that's the case. And the interesting development in the past few days, certainly on Wednesday when the US base in Khost was attacked, is that Pakistan Taliban claimed responsibility for that attack in Afghanistan. That's an interesting development, if it's true, is it not?
It's, you know, that's only a claim. As I said before, and you said before, that Waliur Rahman, the number 2 in the post after the death of Baitullah Masood, the leadership of TTP, he recently claimed that thousands of warriors have crossed the Durand line and are participating in the jihad against the Americans. This is the second claim they made, perhaps today, that the CIA officials who were killed there were basically, the act was orchestrated by the TTP here in Pakistan. As we know that the only area of friction in ties of Pakistan, which is specific to counterterrorism with the United States, is that Pakistan draws a line between Pakistan Taliban and the Afghan Taliban. Pakistanis traditionally have been allegedly lenient towards Pakistani Taliban, the ones who commit terrorism. So if there is one area of friction that Pakistanis have practiced some kind of a double standard, this is an area which the TTP, hard-pressed because of a resolute military operation, is trying to exploit. And they are making suddenly, in the last few weeks, one claim after another that they are actually contributing now more to the anti-American insurgency in Afghanistan.
Thanks very much, Professor. And of course, nobody's taken responsibility for that attack in Lakim Rawat, but of course, we'll follow events there in Pakistan. Thanks for your time.